Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So, Sony, the business model, Sony has shut down a studio that produced a game called Concord. I'm not a gamer. And I'll get into that in more detail as we get into this article about the gaming thing. But some of you guys know what this game is. The studio for it, accordingly, was shut down due to poor sales. Let's get right into this article because I've read the article, I've overlooked the material, and in my opinion, I already know what the issue is. In fact, when I saw the headline for the article, I said to myself, I already know what the deal is. I already know what the deal is. But you got to read the article thoroughly in order to understand all the variables and details. So let's get right into this, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion. In the wake of the commercial failure of the ultra-woke video game Concord, Sony has formally shut down the development studio behind the game, Firewalk Studios. Sony made a massive investment in both the studio and the game, which shut down just 2 weeks after launching due to a complete and utter rejection of the woke game by Sony customers. Now, this is the initial statement by the writer of this article. Then they're going to form their premise for this statement. Bloomberg reports that the leftist video game industry has been dealt another blow as Sony Interactive Entertainment announced the closure of Firewalk Studios, the development team responsible for the recently released game Concord. The decision comes after the game's catastrophic commercial performance, which saw it taken offline less than a month after its release. So let me read some stuff here. There's something else I wanted to read to you guys here that I think is interesting. Some of this stuff you can read on your own free time in the comment box below. Concord, a multiplayer game in the same vein as Overwatch, faced criticism and negative feedback from the moment it was announced. Many players expressed displeasure with the game's design choices and the inclusion of pronouns for characters. See, here we go. Which some viewed as a promotion of transgender ideology. In my opinion, it clearly was that. Despite these concerns, Firework Studios, like they always do, chose to ignore the feedback, with director of IP Kim Cattrall stating in an interview with VJC that the trailer was just a, quote, tiny slice of the game and that players would eventually fall in love with the depth of the characters and their unfolding personalities and backstories. Oh, man, it's the game's performance metrics painted a bleak picture from the start. During its early access phase on Steam, Concord only managed to reach a peak concurrent player count of 1,124. The open beta saw a slight improvement with a peak of 2,388 concurrent players. However, reports from True Trophies indicated that player counts on PlayStation had declined by 8.1% between the early access and open beta periods. The closure of Firewalk Studios is not the only casualty in this saga. Sony also announced the shuttering of another studio, Neon Koi, K-I-K-O-I, I think that's how you pronounce it, whose mobile action game will never see the light of day. The news of Neon Koi's closure was largely overshadowed by the more high-profile failure of Concord, end of article. Yeah. I just want to speak briefly on this because somebody may say, well, you're not a gamer. You can't say nothing about it. Ugh. Man, come on. I don't have to be a gamer to look at what I consider to be common sense. Okay? I already read some information to you in the article. To me, it's common sense. It's not brain surgery. Clearly, you're promoting an agenda that most of the gamers are not into. All they want to do is play games. And when you're pushing an agenda, whatever that agenda is, it don't even have to be transgender or any of that. It could be any agenda, whether it's from the left or the right. And you're pushing this agenda, and you're pushing this message, and you're pushing, instead of making the game applicable to all players and making it fun to where the players that simply want to just play a good game, you're going to lose your audience. To me, it's simple. Okay? The reason why they had to shut the studio down was because, as it said, as the other argument was that it faced a lot of criticism from a lot of the players that were playing and said, they were upset with putting these personal pronouns in there and putting these pronouns in there for the names of the characters. Stop it. Stop it, man. Just stop it. Just stop it. And let me say something about being a gamer. I did play video games years ago, okay? Back in the 80s, I played a lot of video games, okay? And in the early 2000s, my ex-wife brought me 2 video game systems, PlayStation 1 and 2, no, 3 actually, PlayStation 1 and 2, and Xbox One, but the old system. And I would play for hours. I had to give it up because I was becoming obsessed. Now, if you can interpret that as being a gamer, maybe, maybe not. I don't consider it as being a gamer. You know, I was just somebody that just played many, many hours on the video games. I don't want to go back to it because I know I would not be able. My personality said I would get obsessed with it. I know I would, because the way video games are today, they are way more detailed than they were back then in terms of imagery, sound. Man, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. I'm just being transparent. Couldn't take it. So if somebody said, well, you can't say anything about gaming and stuff because you're not a gamer. You never played. No, I played it a lot. So I don't hear that. Okay. I'm just commenting on this goofy, woke agenda that Sony is pushing. Stop it. Stop it, bro. You destroying your profit margin. Here's the deal. Look, at the end of the day, people can believe what they want to believe, embrace what they want to embrace. That's their choice. That's part of what makes America great. What makes America great is the freedom to choose to do and be whatever you want to be. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, you can be whatever you want to be in this country and not have to worry about the government lopping your head off or whatever, or throwing you in jail because this is what you want to be. You want to be a business person, you can be a business person. You want to be a Christian or whatever, you can be without the government, without much government, if any government intervention at all. Okay. Be whatever you want to be. People might not always agree with it, but that's cool. You have the freedom to be what you want to be. It's what makes you happy. It's all good. But on a business level, if you are a business owner and your bottom line is to make money, you make money by selling products to people that want these products. You have markets. Markets are the people that that have the ability to buy your products and the money, the desire to buy your products and the money to buy your products. But then you have subdivisions within their markets. Okay. I'm just going to be realistic with you. The transgender, however way you want to put that, market is a small market in terms of gaming in comparison to the rest of the gamers. The rest of the gamers, I'm going to presume, are just regular people, regular Joe Smokes. You may have some in there that are transgender, but that number is way smaller than the heterosexual gamers in the same market. Now, why do I say that? Because if these woke executives in Sony and woke game creators in Sony are trying to reach that segment of the market, okay, you're going to have a poor comeback. You're going to have a poor income margin, if you will, because that's a small part of the market. The bigger market is just regular people. You make most of your money from these individuals, not that small niche market that you're trying to reach. That's the reason, for the most part, why this game got a lot of controversy, a lot of criticism for it, was because most of the people that played the game evidently did not like the idea, okay, of the creators putting pronouns to take the place of the names of the characters, whatever. And then one of the creators, as I read to you guys, one of the creators had the audacity to say, well, you know what? They'll learn to, and I'm paraphrasing, they'll learn to get into the characters. They'll bypass that. They're just a little small, they'll learn to get into the characters. No. They're not going to learn to get into the characters because you're pushing an agenda that's offensive to them. What if somebody on there started pushing Jesus on you? Would you like that? What if people start pushing the cross and how Jesus died on the cross in one of the video games? Would you like that, Sony? Would you like that? Of course you wouldn't. So it's the same principle. Don't try to push something on people that they don't want. The people have the right to do what they want to do, be whatever they want to be. Okay. But when you start as a business person trying to make money, doing buffoonish things like that, you're going to lose money because most people are not most people do not embrace that in the gaming community, I'm going to assume. If they did, then there wouldn't be any problems. You wouldn't have to cancel and terminate the studio and terminate the game. You wouldn't have to do it. Let me end the video on this. Here's the deal with this kind of stuff. These woke executives and marketeers and so forth get on my nerves because what happens is they're pushing this agenda in terms of business models. They're pushing these agendas on these people. When they start losing money, guess what? They want to shut everything down. But guess who suffers? The little people. The little people who work to try to make a living in these woke places, trying to make a living, they're the ones that suffer because next thing you know, they start getting laid off. These executives, these woke executives and these woke marketeers that are creating the platform for the regular workers to put in practice, they're sitting up there not suffering at all. They don't get canned. They don't get axed. It's the little people that get axed. Meanwhile, these woke executives and woke Marxist knuckleheads are still in positions to continue to push their agenda and continue to make dumb, stupid, ignorant excuses for why everybody don't want to use your game or watch your movie or listen to your music. It PISSEDs me off. These people they're the ones need to be axed out of there. They're the ones need to be taken out of there. They're the ones need to be laid off. Not the little people. And I guarantee you this is what eventually is going to end up happening if it hasn't happened yet. Somebody else on the small guys is going to lose their job because some woke marketeer or woke executives in the higher ups in Sony is making these dumb outlines for them to push, if you will. And then when the money don't come back, and they start losing money, the little people suffer. Let's lay them off. Let's shut this studio down and lay everybody else off. Meanwhile, we stand in position to continue to push the same woke nonsense that we've been pushing from the get-go. It's wrong and it's unethical, and these people should be laid off themselves. I'm talking about the ones on the upper. They should be laid off. Not the little people, not the regular workers trying to make a living. Anyway, man, it's just ridiculous. But I had to say that. I'm getting so sick and tired of these people, man. But you know what? It's cool. It's all good because I know who they are. They're nothing but Marxists and communists trying to push an agenda. And when I say by Marxists and communists, I don't mean self-professed Marxists or self-professed communists. Okay, I believe these people have been inundated, if you will, with Marxist and communist ideologies. And they think they're doing a good thing, but they're not. They're destroying the business. They're destroying the bottom line. And every business, regardless of how moral and ethical it tries to be, regardless of how fun they try to be, at the end of the day, the bottom line is always a profit. You're trying to make as much money as you possibly can. I promise I'm going to know this. That's one of the reasons, if not the only reason, why that Joker movie failed miserably at the box office, and Terrifier 3, an ultra gory, unrated horror movie, beat it out. You want to know why? The reason, in my opinion, based on what I've heard so far, is the simple fact that instead of making a sequel that was related to some degree, and I didn't see the sequel, and I didn't see the first one. I tried to watch the first of Joker, and I just couldn't. It was just too dark, and that's another story for another video. But I just couldn't deal with it. It was too much on that level. But instead of making a movie about, that extended the narrative of the first one and trying to increase the character in the second one, in the first one, what did they do? They made it, from what I heard, they made it a musical. How many people who went to go see the first Joker was begging for a musical in the sequel? And that film cost over, $100 million to produce? And then millions of more dollars to simply market? And they lost money terribly. It was a flop. It was a flop. A pure flop. Why? Because you're pushing something that the people don't want. They didn't want a musical, you idiot. They wanted an extension of the... Who came up with that dumb idea? But you get my point. If you're a business, be about business. The bottom line is money. It's making a profit. It's your customers that make you who you are. It's the customers that bring in the money, bro. That's basically the bottom line. And when you man, I could go all day with this. It's simple. It's really simple. But anyway, yeah, that's what I had to say about this crazy nonsense. What do you guys think about what Sony did here? Canceling it, closing the studio down and all this. Yeah. That was inevitably going to happen, because you pushing a woke agenda. You pushing on the people, the gamers, and the people that play these games, something that they're not interested in. They just want to play good games, and you pushing these agendas on them. Stop it. That's what I think about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.